Oh, there we go. We're recording. So I'm not, you know what? I don't know. It says live too. And I don't know if that means that I'm actually live in the group. I'm totally learning this stuff as we go right now. If you guys think that ever I tell you guys like to go do something before you think about it, like maybe I might be telling you to do something that I don't do, uh, think again. This is what I do. I don't know, but I know by 2022 we're going to get this stuff figured out. We're going back and forth between StreamYard and LinkedIn. But Eric Mendonça, I just shared with Jason that we're about to do a 40-day challenge. I dropped it in the group starting on New Year's. It comes with one weekly coaching where we're going to go back. We're going to look on our week, like, what'd you do? And I said I was going to work out 4 times a week, whatever it is that you're saying you want to do too. If you're going to work out twice a week, once a week, whatever you commit to, you just want to create the habit. So it's all about taking the action and then going Friday, about midday, we'll have a coaching and we'll say, hey, how'd your action go? And if somebody had a hard time with the action or whatever the case was, then they can go back and go, yeah, I had a hard time. This is what I was thinking. And then we can walk through that so we can get into the thinking process, makes us love what we're doing. And then we'll go out and do it. So it's in the group, man. I'd love for you to join us. I know you'll get shredded in 40 days, more shredded than you are.
Huh. Say the first part.
We're doing a 40-day challenge, January, starting in January 2022.
Workout related.
Meal plan 2.
Meal plan. I've already. I mean, you can hold me accountable to it, but I've already set a plan where I don't eat any carbs Monday through Friday after 5, and then I'm working out at least 4 days a week. But I've been doing that for probably 2 months now, 3 months, pretty solid.
Well, right on, man. If you want accountability or you want to step it up or you want to add another workout, then whatever, come in there. We'll account and we'll talk about it.
Okay, sure.
It applies to the same thing too. If you're wanting to achieve something in business, we can do the same stuff. It's all the same. So this is it. This is the trick to staying in charge no matter what. You just muted yourself. Man, you guys are such good etiquette, people. I love it. I'm going to steal your screen and we're going to get going. I'm guessing you guys can see that. If you can't see that, unmute yourself and let me know. This is actually thinking into results. This is one of the full coaching facilitation. How many times you hear people tell the story that, I wanted to do that thing, and I don't care if it's health and fitness or what it is. You can just say whatever it was. It can be your big dream. And somebody says, I really wanted to do that thing. I'm going to check on you guys too to make sure, like I said, if you guys can't hear or you can't see, let me know. So somebody says, yeah, I wanted to do that thing, but there was this problem that got in the way. And they really tell you with emotion what the problem was. And it's very believable because they believe it. But the truth is that is not the truth. There is always a way around a problem. And it's once you get bought into the problem, then all you're going to see is the problem and more ways to create the problem over and over again. It's just showing that a person doesn't understand their mind. And there's no shame in not understanding your mind because nothing teaches us our mind. We don't learn this stuff in school. We don't learn it in church. Nobody's teaching it. Even a successful person that's going out there in the world and being successful, it's very, very rare that they would teach it because most of the time they don't even know the thing that they're doing to create success. They're just doing it automatic out of habit and they can't say it. They can't articulate it. So this is the trick to staying in charge no matter the circumstances. And this is the way that people that get massive success in the world, whether they know it or not, this is exactly what they do to do that. This is the basis for the program that I teach called Thinking into Results. This is the idea. Buckminster Fuller was it was a great architect and he really created some great stuff. But he knew, these guys know this down at the base. He said, you never change things by fighting the existing reality, or you can just put problem. You never change things by fighting the problem. That's why the war on drugs is never going to work. You're always thinking about the drugs, it just creates more drugs. It just shows a level of ignorance. But you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. Pick something new, do something new. And I'm going to show you tonight how to create those new things in your mind. Those things aren't going to be things that you actually come up with so much as you receive them. Einstein said we can't solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. You got to come up with new thinking. When somebody says that I wish that you would just give me the solution to this thing or solve it for me, it's not the answer. And it's not the answer because it might temporarily band-aid your problem. It might temporarily solve your problem, but you're still stuck and you don't know it. You just have a temporary solution, because if the same problem comes along, you don't know what to do. So we shouldn't wish that our problem would just be solved or somebody else would solve it. We got to think about becoming the person that this is no longer a problem for. That's a big thing. That's a big way of looking at it. Don't be upset about the problem. Embrace the challenge. And then take this thinking on that I'm about to show you here, because that will create the solution. That's what's going to cause you to intuitively receive the solution. You don't know when that's going to be. You might be out running, walking the dog, wake up in the morning in the shower. But if you use this thinking that I'm about to show you, your solution will come. It's just a matter of time. Oh, a worthy ideal is something you are going after that you've never done before. You don't want to go after things that you've done before, because there's no growth in that. You're not becoming a new person. So everything that you're going after, if we're talking about the physique, go after the physique that you never went after before, something you've never achieved before. Go for a performance goal that you've never achieved before. Set the bar high, because you're going to have to grow into the person who does that. And if it's business or it's a financial goal, then set the bar high. Set it to a place that you've never done before, because that's the only thing that you're going to be in love with, that idea. So that's going to fuel you to go after it. But that's the only thing that's going to cause you to grow into a new person. I've said before, if I sit $1 million down in the middle of the table and there's different people looking at it, you've got Richard Branson and Donald Trump, and I hate to use his name right now because he's kind of got some bad stuff around it, but he's got a lot of money. Bill Gates, put your parents, put your relatives around there, and put some homeless people. We're all the same thing. We're all the same DNA, and the money's all the same stuff. But every person is going to look at that thing differently because of the experiences that we've had, the opportunities that we've had to grow into the person who has that relationship with money. And when you get to the end where money's no longer a problem for you, money just shows up for you all the time because that's your belief, then the $1 million doesn't even mean anything. You don't need it. You can take that person and take everything away from them, and they'll figure out how to go out there and recreate that. You see, that guy is a billionaire. He does that show and he goes out and, creates $1 million company. And I think it's like 90 days or something like that. It's pretty cool because it's showing the programming that person has. Give a person, $1 billion, whatever the case is, and they don't know what to do with it. I'll be damned if they don't lose it very quickly. And we prove it time and time again with the lottery winners do that over and over again. It's 'cause they don't have a program. They don't know what to do with it. They're just the money's disappearing because they have a program inside of them that says, I don't have money. I don't know what to do with money. And it just follows suit. The money starts to disappear. We're taught to live through our senses, and the senses are just a thermometer. Mark Twain said something really funny. There was a quote I read that he had said, you were looking at the thermometer and everybody said, oh my gosh, it's so cold. It's so cold that the thermometer was all the way down at the very bottom. And Mark Twain said, it's a good thing that thermometer wasn't another inch longer. Otherwise we'd have froze to death. I think it's really funny. When you think about it, the thermometer is like the scale. It's like the report card. It's like the sales sheet. It's just telling you about what happened, but you're not going to adjust your results based on what you're getting, the readings, the thermometer. But we've been taught to live that way. School teaches us to live that way. Look through your senses. So your senses is giving you something that you don't want. You're getting some results that you don't want. You get emotionally bought into those results. That causes havoc in our life. We got to do something more than that. And what we got to do is we got to tap into our higher faculties. This is the key to overcoming problems. This is the key to producing the results that you want in any situation. It's not going the way that you want. We got to tap into our higher faculties. And those faculties are perception, imagination, intuition, will, memory, and reason. Perception is just a point of view. The world has a problem with perception right now because we're all so stinking divided. We believe that for one person to be wrong, we have to be right, or for us to be right, somebody else has to be wrong. That's not true. The truth is that there's infinite different perceptions to be taken on a problem. So one person's point of view is different than your point of view. They don't have to be wrong in order for you to be right. Two people can have a different view on something and both of them can be right. We got to let that stuff go. And the cool part about perception is that you can pull in the perception of somebody else. How would Donald Trump handle this? You're looking at a situation that you think that you can't go into. You can immediately change your perception by saying, how would Donald Trump handle this? What would he do? Is that something that I can do? You automatically start having new actions show up in your mind just immediately by doing that. Bob Proctor, what would he do? Facilitating a lesson. How would Bob Proctor facilitate a lesson? I watched Bob Proctor facilitate a lesson. My gosh, man, the guy does an amazing job. And then I watched him pick his nose. He just doesn't care. He was right in the middle of talking to all of us consultants, giving us great advice. And it's like, to him, it's the same thing as sitting on his couch and petting his dog. And you really realize, man, like I can take on that perception. I could be like that. Just don't care, just get the information out there. It's more important that the people get the information out there. And I do take that perception on. Imagination. You can imagine anything. That's what creates fantasy. And that's the thing that really separates us from everything on this planet. Nothing can imagine like humans can imagine. We can build big, big fantasies. The only trouble with that is that once we get older, we stop building fantasies in the direction we want. We start building them in the direction that we don't want. We start imagining the worst case scenario. And we do that because everybody around us does it and it teaches us to do that. And then that's when we start staying stuck in our life. Intuition picks up on vibration and translates those vibrations. Intuition is not something that you either have or you don't have. It's something that you actually develop and you pay attention to. You do want to pay attention to your intuition. If you've written your goal out and you have read that goal and you've really felt, what does it feel like to have that already? You've just gone through the case scenarios. How do I interact with people in my life now that I have this big goal? What happens there? And you spend all the time feeling that. You feel that more and more, and that becomes a habit for you. You really want to pay attention to your intuition because it's going to start speaking to you. It's going to say, pay attention to what this person's saying. To be different than what before. You might have never listened to that person before, and all of a sudden your mind understands you to be this new person doing this goal. Intuition is going to guide you from there. So you really want to pay attention to it. Don't feel like you don't have intuition. You absolutely do. And you know it too. If you ever walked into a room and man, something's off and wrong and there was nothing said or done and you just know it and you feel it and sure enough, there it is. Somebody says, man, something happened or whatever. That's your intuition. You're picking up on the vibrations. Your will is a very powerful tool. It gives you the ability to focus on one thing at a time. You develop your will through meditation, as people would say, or you can just focus. Some people will light a candle flame and just stare at the candle and don't think about anything else. You just focus on the flame. You feel thoughts come in, but what it does is gives you the ability to understand is that you're not a victim of your thoughts. You can actually pass your thoughts right by. You say, oh, I see that thought and I'm not going to get on that train right now. And that gives you that ability when you start to do that stuff to realize that whatever's coming into your life, you don't have to get emotionally involved with it. You don't have to think about it. You have to pay attention to it. Bad thoughts about you and achieving your goal is not going to go well. You don't have to get on that crazy train. Just let it go. Start getting those thoughts and use your will in a positive fashion to focus, just like we said, on the things that you want. But you have to focus on developing your will. And memory is the faculty by which the mind stores or remembers information. There's no such thing as a bad memory. There's only strong and weak memories. And they are strong and weak because of association, how many times we use them. When we use them regularly, then they become a stronger memory. But we're the ones that attach the feeling onto a memory. And you can change that. You can ask yourself in a memory, what was good about that? Because there's good and bad in everything. You're going to find what you look for. If you look for what's good in a memory, then you will begin to change what you could call a bad memory to something good. Been through a lot of stuff in my life, and I've worked on that one right there, and I've turned a lot of what used to be bad memories into great things for me, things I'm actually thankful for. A lot of times the most challenging stuff that we've gone through in our life has been some of the biggest blessings for us, and you know that if you look at it. Reason. Reason is your faculty that gives you the ability to think. And you think that an energy is flowing to you all the time, and you're able to take that energy and you're able to form it into anything that you want. That's what we call thinking. With your reasoning factor, you can create and accept, you can reject thoughts and ideas. It's a conscious faculty. These are your higher faculties. These are the things that you want to use in order to get the results that you want. When you run up against a problem that you're having, you no longer want to associate with the problem anymore. We're going to go all the way back up here. We're going to Einstein, just exactly what he said. You're not going to solve it from the old thinking. You're not going to solve it by thinking about the problem. You're not going to solve it by what Buckminster Fuller, he said, don't fight the existing reality. Build a new model, and you're going to build your new model using these wonderful higher faculties. And think about this for a moment. Where in school were you ever taught about this stuff? When did you sit down in class and somebody said that, okay, this is how you're going to overcome this thing? And yet you use it all the time. It's natural for us to use it. Like I said, most of the time we use it negatively, but you actually have used it before positively. If you've ever gone to the doctor's office because you can't figure out what's wrong with you, and you're sitting in the waiting room and all of a sudden you just figure it out, like, oh my gosh, that's what it is. Why did that happen? Because you were getting into that space where you were expecting the answer. You knew the doctor was going to give you the answer, but you got into the space and the vibration that you expected the answer, and your intuition automatically picked it up because it says, this is me. The same things happen if you've ever sat outside of your professor or your teacher's office because you couldn't figure out a problem, and you knew that the answer was going to show up. It was just a few minutes before the teacher was going to see you, and all of a sudden you got it. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Now, I'm going to tell you that we do this stuff all the time too. I hope that I remember it, because what we do is we do it negatively. But people think that this stuff is far out. It's not far out. We're actually doing it all the time. We're just not doing it in a direction we want. So all we have to do is shift it into a direction that we want. So remember this about your mental faculties. They're perfect. They only require development. We all have wonderful faculties, higher faculties: memory, reason, intuition, perception, will, imagination. They're all perfect. We just haven't been using them in the direction that we want. So you think of it in terms of weightlifting, and you've been taught to live through your senses. Your senses is the thermometer, tells you what's going on right now. See, hear, smell, taste, and touch. So you've been working out your senses like you were working out one arm in the gym. It's easier for, I think, guys to see it this way. Is it like you just been doing upper body? You know that guy? My son called him the Dorito. It's pretty funny. He doesn't have any legs. He works his upper body all the time. So you've been working out your senses all the time, and you've trained yourself to live through them. And meanwhile, these mental faculties we talk about, you haven't spent any time working on your legs. So all they've done is just atrophy. They're not really serving you. They're not getting any stronger or better, but they're still there. So think of it in terms of that. You can develop them. You just got to start using them. And when you start using them, that's when you're going to start overcoming any problems. And everybody around you looks at you and goes, what the heck are you doing, man? Things are going good for you. So they're not something you're either born with or not. It's a misnomer. One of the biggest challenges that I face, not so much anymore because I've been sitting down to meditate and it has made a huge difference. But one of my biggest challenges was will. I'm sharing that with you because I want you to identify the one that is the biggest challenge for you. And if you have a hard time seeing things from other people's perspective, perception is something that you're going to want to work on. If you're having a hard time, just staying focused, then focus on your will, like me. If you're not using your imagination, you have a hard time. I can't get involved in the image. I can't see the image. Then practice regularly and understand that it's going to take a little bit of time, but anything worth having and doing is always taking time and effort. That's what makes it worthwhile. Embrace the struggle is what I said today. That's the whole point. Embrace the struggle. When did we learn that struggle is a bad thing? It's not a bad thing. Struggle is there to show you what you need to learn so that you can overcome the thing. But struggle isn't something like we're taught, oh, I should be shameful about this struggle and I should hide away from it or I should run away from it. We can't get better when you run away from it. So just let that shame stuff go. Just forget it. And when you start to overcome these things, this is the crazy thing about it. You do start to get better and better and better. And when somebody sees you really kicking ass and doing good out there in the world, the way that they will perceive you is that, well, you can do that and they can't. Whatever you're succeeding in, that's just a natural thing. We all do that. Well, that person can do that, but I can't. But it's not true, because when that person comes back, when you come back and you say, well, let me tell you about my struggle, automatically the person understands, wow, I can do this too. But it's because of the struggle that puts them in the position of understanding, like, I'm not hopeless. Like, you went through this struggle and you overcame it, which means that I can do the same thing too. So the struggle is a beautiful thing. It's a bunch of baloney that we're just taught over and over again that we should be ashamed of our struggle. Don't be. Embrace it. The quicker you embrace it, the quicker you're going to get past it. So what's your thing? What do you want to work on? I want to show you this. This is what most people do. This is what life is. Results into thinking. You see the present results right there. Present results is where most people start. Why? Because like we said, we are taught to live through our senses. So that's just telling us present results. That's all your senses can tell you. What's going on right now and maybe a little bit about what happened in the past. You know, you look at the report card, whatever. But you start with present results, and that causes you to think something, and then you become emotionally involved with it. That's what we cause feelings. And then that causes you to take actions. What do you think those actions actually produce? More of the same. People get so frustrated. This is what we call struggle. Why do I keep getting the same results over and over again? This is the thing. We say, like, abusive relationships. It's such a good way to show it, because people have seen that so many times. You remove one person from an abusive relationship, maybe they get incarcerated or they have to go away. And then the other person that's left actually brings another person, a new individual that's exactly like the last individual. Why? How do they do that so perfectly? Because that's how well our senses, that's how well our higher faculties are actually tuned into the world, when they understand that that's who you are. But that's your thinking. You're thinking in a way which is according to your present results, which cause those thoughts and those feelings and those actions, and it gets the same result over and over again, all the way to the point it can just take you out of your environment right now and send you to another state. It can send you to another country, and we know for a fact that you're going to get the same results over and over again. People will produce the same income, they'll have the same type of friends, and they'll have the same problems because of this stuff. This is the way the world does it. Don't do that. If you don't want to get the results that the world's getting, don't do that. And all it is to fix it is a small shift. We call it thinking like the 1%. 1% of the population owns 96% of the wealth. And that's just the way that it is, because they think in a different way. And it's always going to be that way. It's going to go against the rules if you want to take that money and redistribute it forcefully out there equally. In a short amount of time, it will wind up the same, because that's a natural law. And it's because of this. Knowingly or unknowingly, the people that attract the money are doing this. The people that attract success are doing this. And they begin with new thoughts and ideas. You see the old one? They began with present results. Forget it. Throw the present results out. Begin with new thoughts and ideas. What does it feel like to have the success that you want? What does it feel like? Go through perception. Take somebody else's perception. Use your imagination to create the results that you want. Use your thinking to create new thinking on this thing, but generate new thoughts and ideas, and those will cause new feelings, and those feelings are what drives you into action. What you actually do in this world is based on something that you're feeling. And those new actions produce new results. That's how you change it. Just that simply. If you don't like what's going on in your life, don't get emotionally involved with it. let it go and come up with new thoughts and ideas. Get emotionally involved with them. That's your feelings. Remember, feeling is just a word we invented to describe the vibration we're in. And then that causes you to take the new action. You're going to get new results. When you get those new results, you ask yourself, what is it that I liked about these? Good. Harvest the good. And then what do I want to get better at? And then again, new thoughts and ideas about getting better on that thing, and see yourself getting better on that thing. And then just run it through the cycle again, because as soon as you get emotionally involved in those, it's going to run through the cycle again. And you do that enough times, you run through that washing machine enough times, that's where you start producing phenomenal results. So key points, that's it. It's really simple. Overcoming any challenge in your life is really that simple. It's just about tapping into your higher faculties. And if you want to get into the higher faculties on a deeper level, that's what the coaching's all about. We're using this stuff all the time to produce results, but to produce solutions to the challenges that you face on your way to the goal. And you would agree that if you produce enough solutions, enough times for the problems that you're facing, it's just a matter of time before you get your goal. That's all you have to do, is keep creating solutions. We've all been gifted with higher mental faculties: perception, will, imagination, memory, reason, and intuition. But it's our responsibility to learn how to utilize them. We haven't been taught this stuff. We've got to learn how to develop these higher faculties to a great degree. We're programmed to live from the outside in. Living from the outside in is living through the senses. And that programming causes us to be the plaything for outside forces. That's why you can get so pissed off at the news. If you don't know about this stuff, you watch the news, or somebody comes along and gives you bad information, bad news, you get emotionally involved with that, and your day goes downhill after that. That's why you never want to do that. Something makes you feel bad, forget it. Don't spend any time with it. We should observe and be aware of what's going on in our outside world, but we are capable. Understand that you're capable of creating our world with our higher faculties. We're not just stuck with accepting our current conditions and circumstances. Objectively observe what's going on outside in your world, but don't let it control your thinking. Think thoughts that will create the idea that you want. Think about how great you are. And you are great because you're the only version of you that there ever will be. So you've got to think that about yourself. It's not a matter of, am I smart? It's like, how am I smart? What ways am I smart? What ways am I gifted? Seek those things out, and you're going to find them. We're all unique, and that's cool. Embrace it. Weakness isn't a bad thing either. It's actually perfect, because where you're weak, somebody else is strong, and that's where we connect very well. If you think you're going to do your big goal completely by yourself, think again. Many people, anybody that goes out and do that, I would say, is going to fail. There's always some form of help and mentorship that comes in from the outside that helps to get us to that next level. And that's that point. Like, I'm weak here, somebody strong comes in and compliments you. Got a big business you want to run, you think that you're going to do it all by your own hand, you should think again, because that is a recipe for failure. But at that point, you consciously observe your new results, and you mentally adapt the new results, and you immediately begin to think new thoughts that create the ideas on how to improve upon it. It's just what I said about the wheel is right here. There it is. And just run it again and again and again. Don't let the outside world control you. You control the outside world. Proctor Gallagher, we say we create from the inside out. We're always creating from what's coming from inside of us. Sometimes that can be hardest at the beginning because we're full of emotion and we want to go do it, but there's nothing that exists in the outside world that actually shows it. So most people around you in your circles are going to tell you why it's a bad idea or why you shouldn't do that or whatever. You don't need to listen to that stuff. If it's come from you and it's come from your heart, it's the right thing. And as long as you stick to it, the outside results will start to show up. And then those people, that's when they start to buy in. They go, oh, this thing's working. It works that way every time. That's what great leaders do. And we look at these people and we revere them. They're no different than us, but we revere them because they do it again and again and again. But you have that same capability too. Ask yourself this question: are your results causing your thinking, or is your thinking causing your results? It's a very important distinction, probably the most important point to make in this lesson. So think of a situation. This is your work. This is your worksheet. Think of a situation in your external environment. What's that situation? And then what you're thinking and feeling about the situation, your current thinking and feeling. Just get it out. Say it, write it. What's the actions you're taking because of this thinking? That's when it really starts to get real. What are the results that are created? Are you getting the same result over and over? Is your thinking helping you get to your desired results? At that point, I think you would say no. Now shift your thinking. Look at the result. Describe the result. Is that something you want? If not, begin to think of what you do want. Build the image of what you want in your mind. And don't stay on want. Stay in the space where you've already got it. What do? What do you think and feel when you've already got this? You're going to find that you don't want it anymore. You're actually just thankful for it. When you feel that thankfulness for it, that's when the real intuition starts to show up. Oh, how did I do it? Ask yourself a question, even if you haven't solved the problem yet. What was it I did to solve that problem? Put it in the past tense that way. Like I was telling that story to somebody. What was it that I actually did to overcome that? You'd be amazed at what comes through your mind. If it's something you want, is this something you want? If not, begin to think of what you do want. Build the image of what you do want in your mind. What new thoughts can you have about this situation? How can you think about the situation differently? What new feelings could you have about this new image? How do you feel about these new thoughts? What actions are you inspired to take as a result of these feelings? Remember, it's feelings. The moment you feel something, that's a vibration that your body's going into action. You get pumped up about working out. Once you really start thinking about the workout, or you think about how great you feel at the end of the workout, you think about yourself going to bed at night, like I did that, all of a sudden you see yourself already, you start moving toward doing that thing. But on the simple level, you think I'm thirsty, I'm feeling thirsty, you go get a drink, that's what moves you into action too. What's one action you can commit to take this week that will support your new thinking and the achievement of your goals? That's it, man. It's all about higher faculties. So this is the story that I was going to go back on. People think that they don't use this stuff at all, but if you watch somebody, like computer problems is a good example. I'm technically challenged, and I don't mind that because I love connecting with people, that help me out with the technicalities of stuff. But here's the thing. We're actually doing this stuff all the time. I will catch myself as I have a technical problem getting frustrated at the problem. And when I get frustrated at the problem, what I'm actually doing is I'm springboard forward. I'm using my higher faculties to create a worse situation. Like if I don't get this problem solved, I'm not going to get this work done. And that's going to feel like crap. And that really gets me frustrated. And so I start taking more action that just shows me more of why I can't do this and why I can't do that. And you see in that situation that we're using our higher faculties negatively to bring results to us that we don't want. If you're having a fight with somebody, or whatever you want to call it, argument with somebody, this is where people use it powerfully, and they start creating thoughts and feelings about the next time they see that person that's negative. All that does is produce that for you. You're getting emotionally charged with it. You can get yourself so worked up that the person's not even around. It's like you want to call them or have a fight with them right then. So you see that we do use this stuff and it does drive us into action, but we're just using it in reverse gear because we haven't been taught what it's really doing. We think that the outside world's just showing up that way, but it's not. It's coming from within. And it's through the understanding of this stuff that we just shared here tonight that you can shift that and you don't have to deal with that stuff anymore. The moment your awareness comes in and you're feeling this stuff, let it go. It's not serving you, and get into the process of creating the results in your mind that you want. That's it. That's all you've got to do. And then you've shifted yourself into the 1% of the people in the world that are out there getting the results that they actually want while everybody else struggles. It's the difference in all this. Napoleon Hill said, an educated person is one who has so developed the faculties of their mind that they may acquire anything they want or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. And it's all about the faculties. It's because people have learned how to use their mind. That's straight out of Think and Grow Rich. Bombs dropped. Floor is open. You guys, it's all yours, man.
It's just me. Oh, am I the only one in here?
I think you are. Did I lose Jason? I must have lost him.
I think so. Actually, at one point, I kind of got disconnected where I didn't hear you anymore. But
Interesting.
Whatever. Anyways, yeah, no, a couple things. I mean, you've said it over and over, and it kind of makes me think of people that say, "Oh, I don't have time for the gym." Well, you never have time if you don't make it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you had time. You could have. You could. You won't ever have it unless you make it. And I think that goes for a lot of things.
What if you
But
said I haven't prioritized it?
yeah, that's exactly what it is, right?
I did.
That's the truth.
Obviously, other shit's more important to you.
Yeah.
Because
Same,
you've got 24 hours in the day like everybody else.
same as meeting up with friends, right? Oh, I've been busy. I've been busy. Yeah, you just haven't prioritized it.
Yeah.
You prioritize other things. And it's like, you won't have time unless you make it, guy.
Be cool if a lot more people just get honest and say, "No, I just didn't want to do that."
I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Good
Uh,
deal, man.
when you are you recording this or no?
I am, and I because I'm in, I'm in. I don't know how this works, but because I'm in Streamyard, there's my words. I was searching for my words. I don't know if it goes in broadcast, if that causes it. You want me to check it?
I don't know. This is live, I guess.
I don't think
Who's
it's
what?
live right now, but let me see if it's. Is it say somebody's watching?
No.
Okay, yeah, we didn't do it. Let me see if I end broadcast, and if it ends broadcast and it cuts us off, I'll call you.
All right, cool.